Hey, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are across the world. Just wanted to come through, say hello, and also want to make you all aware of a story that is ongoing right now. I covered a story similar to this, I want to say about a year and a half ago, and the unfortunate thing about that story is we never found out what actually happened to those people who used their cell phones to literally call 911 right outside the San Antonio area, and those migrants were never found. But as of this moment, 55, I hear the number has went up to 55. It was 46, then went up to 51, then I heard 55 migrants are dead after they and others were found in sweltering conditions in a semi-truck in San Antonio. Precinct 1 Bexar County Commissioner Rebecca Clay Flores said during a news conference today. Let me kind of give you a view of the scene here. Now, this death toll includes migrants from Mexico, Guatemala, and Honduras. This is according to a federal law enforcement official who has spoken on condition of being anonymous. Okay, now, the medical examiner's office has identified potentially 34 of the 51 victims, although I keep hearing the number is actually 55. The county medical examiner has also asked for assistance from medical examiner offices in neighboring counties due to the large number of victims. This is the worst human smuggling event in United States history, and it sheds light on how dangerous human smuggling is. Now, in the past, smuggling organizations were usually mom and pop shops, but they are organized now. And the fact that this trailer was found in San Antonio, it makes me sort of wonder about the one found in San Antonio about a year and a half ago, or the one that was driving through San Antonio. Listen, my mom and dad drove trucks my whole child life, and there's only so many highways and there's only so many pathways, right? And I've heard a lot of stories over the years, and let me tell you something, thousands, if not tens to hundreds of thousands of migrants have made their way from Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, and other South American countries. Once they get to the border, they get it in the back of a semi-truck. And the stories are absolutely horrendous, horrifying, but they do it because they want a better life. And I also, I'll say this really quick. I grew up with the children of mothers and fathers who came to America that way. And because they came to America that way, their children were not able to get naturalized, so to speak, right? And there was a lot of danger when Donald Trump was in office about sending people who grew up here, or, either, came across as a 1-year-old child, 2-year-old child, whatever, to children to parents of migrants who are migrants who didn't know. I mean, they wanted to send them back to a country that they didn't know anything about. And I'm talking about, I grew up with some of these people from child to adult. They don't know anything about Mexico. They don't know anything about Guatemala. They don't know anything about the Honduras. They are the children of these parents who chose to break the law. Now, this discovery these criminal organizations, by the way, they have no regard for the safety of these migrants. They are treated like cattle, like commodities, rather than people. And this particular discovery came as U.S. federal authorities launched what they described as an unprecedented operation to disrupt human smuggling networks amid an influx of migrants at the U.S.-Mexico border. Now listen to this. One of the strategies that these smugglers use. See, if a parent wants to bring a child, they can actually pay less for that child. And the reason why? They can drop that child off at the border, at the United States-Mexican border. And there is a process to it. But essentially, they can drop those children off at the Mexican border, and it goes. It could go to Vice News and school your brain on how this process works. But listen, 3 people were detained near the trailer site and are currently in police custody, but their connection to this situation is unclear. Now, authorities were alerted to the scene just before 6 p.m. yesterday when a worker in a nearby building heard a cry for help. The worker found a trailer with doors partially opened and saw several people deceased inside. 48 people died on the scene, 2 died at hospitals, and again, this death toll is preliminary because, again, the most recent update, I have been told, has been 55 people. 16 people, 12 adults and 4 children, were taken alive and conscious to medical facilities. Patients were hot to the touch and suffering from heat stroke and exhaustion. The refrigerator semi-tractor trailer had no visible working air conditioning unit, and there was no sign of water inside. It's not clear how long people had been inside this truck or had been dead. Now, high temperatures Monday in the San Antonio area ranged from the high 90s to the low 100s, according to the National Weather Service. None of these people were able to extricate themselves out of this truck. Okay, sorry about that, everybody. My apologies there. Okay, now let me bring my window back up. I was like, where's that music coming from? But it was a hidden tab. But anyway, none of these people were able to extricate themselves out of the truck. So they were still in there awaiting help, and they were so weak. They were in such a weakened state, they needed help to get out. Now, those in the truck included at least 22 Mexicans and 2 Hondurans. The 7 Guatemalans were among the dead, and another Guatemalan was in a hospital in critical condition. Now, old President Joe Biden, who just fell off his bike recently during a trip, in a bike ride with his wife, he described the discovery as horrifying and heartbreaking, saying that the deaths underscored the need to go after criminal trafficking rings. This is what he said, quote, "Exploiting vulnerable individuals for profit is shameful as it is political grandstanding around tragedy, and my administration will continue to do everything possible to stop human smugglers and traffickers from taking advantage of people who are seeking to enter the United States between ports of entry," end quote. Now, this truck went Monday through a checkpoint north of Laredo, Texas. Okay. And Mexico's Attorney General is also investigating the deaths. This is what the country's foreign minister said on Twitter. The government of Honduras is in touch with the Bexar County Forensic Office after 2 Hondurans were found among the victims in the semi-truck. And Reina said that the consulate is coordinating with authorities to help identify victims. If the data and nationality of the victims are confirmed, the repatriation of the remains will be coordinated with their relatives. Now, firefighters saw stacks of bodies. The 60 firefighters that were on the scene are being put through a critical incident stress debriefing. They opened up that truck and there was stacks and stacks and stacks of bodies of human beings. Why would a truck driver, knowing that he's been paid to haul that load, leave those human beings in just on the side of the road, in a parked vehicle, in a parked truck, knowing that the air conditioning doesn't even work? It's unbelievable. And the thing is, there has been over 14,000 search and rescues that have occurred along the United States southern border in the fiscal year of 2021. In 2017, 10 people died and dozens were injured from heat-related conditions after being discovered in a tractor trailer at a San Antonio Walmart. The driver of that truck was sentenced to life without parole in a federal prison. In 2003, 18 victims ranging from age 7 to 91 were found dead in the back of a semi-truck with about 100 other people as temperatures soared past 100 degrees. The driver in that case was initially sentenced to life in prison, but in 2011 was resentenced to almost 34 years in prison. Heat has not been the only danger to migrants crammed in vehicles. In March 2021, a semi-truck packed with 25 people collided with an SUV on an isolated stretch of California's Imperial Valley, killing 13 undocumented immigrants. And recently in Mexico, a semi-truck packed full of over 50 migrants wrecked out, and they are all dead. And I don't want you to hear this story and just think, it's all their fault. They're the ones that chose to get in the truck. And yeah, you're right. That's true. And I appreciate all points of view and all opinions. But there's a reason why they want to come to America. So just think about that for a minute. If you had an opportunity to better your life, would you? Would you do it? If you knew that paying $5,000 or $10,000 for a ride to get into America so that you could better your life, just even working construction, is like triple the money than what they make down in Mexico, is that a chance you would take? And are you familiar with the trains that run through South America in which migrants climb on top of them and ride for hundreds of miles just to get to Mexico? Again, school your brain. Get familiar with what's really going on.
Seeking refuge is always a humanitarian crisis, but tonight we are dealing with a horrific human tragedy.
A worker who works in one of the buildings up here behind me heard a cry for help, came out to investigate, found a trailer with the doors partially open, opened them up to take a look, and found a number of deceased individuals inside.
Engine 52 arrived and found the trailer, as Chief McManus mentioned, with a body outside and several that they could visibly see inside once the doors were opened. At this time, we have processed approximately 46 bodies that have been triaged and tagged and declared deceased at this time.
It's tragic. You know, there are, that we know of, 46 individuals who are no longer with us, who had families, who were likely trying to find a better life.
Fortunately, we were able to transport 16 people. 12 of those are adults and 4 pediatric. All of them were conscious at the time upon transportation. The patients that we saw were hot to the touch. They were suffering from heat stroke, heat exhaustion, no signs of water in the vehicle. It was a refrigerated tractor trailer, but there was no visible working AC unit on that rig.
We have 3 people in custody. We don't know if they are absolutely connected to this or not. This investigation has been turned over to HSI. It is now a federal investigation.
We hope that those responsible are prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
We're not supposed to open up a truck and see stacks of bodies in there. None of us come to work imagining that.
Patriot Subaru is receiving new cars daily.
And tragedy, absolute tragedy, right? So shout out to the Crime and Investigations channel. I'm going to go ahead and take you guys on out of here. I will see you guys